There you go. And have no fear, this all worked perfectly yesterday. Okay. That's better, okay. So we tried, and that's kind of what we're bringing to you this morning is about. I guess a little over a year ago, we had a congregational meeting and we approved taking money out of the endowment. And the point at that point was to do the doors and to do some of those things. And we're coming to you this morning because we had to change our plans, and frankly, we need more money. You may recall that we had a little water thing last year, and that was a big monkey wrench. And the other monkey wrench was that we realized that the exterior of the building had problems. And so Bill's going to speak to more of that. Okay. That sounds good.
So like Pastor Dave began to talk about, so last year we came looking for $50,000 to do various building improvements and repairs and whatnot. And we've done some of those things, and obviously the kitchen is sort of an unplanned expense, and there's some other expenses that a part of the original plan where we kind of have shifted. The reason we're coming today is less part of that, but when we made the motion, very Presbyterian statement, to pull the money out of the endowment, we sort of set up what we call a restricted fund. And I'm going to go CPA on you for about 15 seconds. A restricted fund says you can only use these funds for restricted purposes. So what that means is that we could only use that money for building repair type things. So obviously the kitchen fell into sort of that broad umbrella, because obviously if you haven't been down there, it's a much different space than it was, this time last year, roughly. But what we're coming today is less about the building itself than, obviously, we've had to spend some of our quote-unquote general fund money to help with some of those repairs, and it's depleted the general fund, so our unrestricted operating money, to pay the normal necessary expenses of the church. So, keeping the lights on, keeping the water flowing, all of the payroll, all of those things. So what our plan is to ask for congregational approval to pull up to $35,000 from the Pennside Presbyterian Endowment Fund. And what the hope is that we're going to pull that money, and we actually did a couple things. And our part of our motion is that we are going to pull that money at more of an as-needed basis. In the past, we've just said, okay, well, we're going to take X amount. We're going to, call our investment person who handles the actual operations of that fund. It's really an investment account, and give us all that money immediately. So what we want to do this time is we're going to pull that money as needed. Obviously, we've just are coming in the fall, gotten out of the summer, and the traditional summer slowdown happened to us, probably a little more noted this year. As everyone has noticed, things are a little more expensive these days than they were last year. So the summer slowdown has definitely hurt us. And then, so we want to also, the other piece of this is, obviously we're going to take this money in bits as we need it. And then we've given ourselves a time limit of of only being able to pull this money through June 30th, 2023. So approximately 9 months. This will give us time to sort of see if this is a temporary issue or a more permanent issue, and then allow us time to figure out what the solutions are around that. But a lot of this is more just to help us replenish our quote-unquote general fund with money that we can use to supplement all the giving that we all give to help with the normal operating expenses of the church. I feel like I've been here before. Let me tell you two things. We have money. Okay, this is not like in the past where our funds were much depleted. We have money, but unfortunately, some of they are of a more restricted basis between things like the memorial fund, things like the general fund, and even these endowments, where this building fund, where we sort of have strict parameters on what we can and can't do with that money. So I don't know how many years ago it was when I was up here saying a similar thing. Well, we need money. The other piece is that we have this endowment fund. So one of the upsides of what we went through however many years ago is that we set up this endowment fund that produces income for the church that allows us to do things with that money. And also in moments like there where we sort of need a backstop, it provides a backstop for us, where we have the ability to draw on this principle to help us do things that we need, whether it's building repairs or, in this case, sort of just fund the operation of the church. So I guess I'll open up to the floor. Does anybody have any questions about any of this? Yes, Lou?
After we pull out this $35,000, what will balance be in the fund?
Ken, you have a rough idea of what we're looking like?
Yeah, last we checked, Lou, we were around 270. Because the stock market's very choppy, so I
Yeah, so,
Still, as Bill said, it's not like we have a lot of money, money's there. It's not quite as high as it was in the past, but, it's actually done relatively well.
I'll repeat Lou's question. Lou's question was, what would the balance of our endowment fund be post pulling this money? Currently, the current balance is $270,000 approximately. And then, you know, you can, if you do the math, obviously we won't be pulling all this immediately, but it will deplete the fund to about $235,000 of principal at that point. Yes, Karen? Yeah, so one of the things that we are doing is, I put together a reconciliation because I'm an accountant, that's what we do. We have about $30,000 of the original, I guess there's two pieces of all this building repair stuff. We have the $50,000 we pulled from the endowment, and then we received, I guess it was about $30,000 of insurance proceeds for all of the stuff related to the kitchen. That made us somewhat whole, but not completely whole. So what the other sort of major building expense that's coming up soon is that based on its sort of inspection, and if you go outside and take a look at this sort of the outside of the building where there's wood, we clearly need to get that repaired. So we're going to have, I guess, Pam, in the relative near future, someone out here painting the windows and the sort of I guess the eaves and other trim areas that are wood on the building, along with doors that aren't going to be replaced at the current point in time. That's going to be about a $20,000-ish expense. So we have the money for that, but obviously that's going to deplete what we have, and so but we'll take up much of the remaining chunk of leftover building repairs that we had authorized previously. Sure.
Craig and I met with the painter this past Thursday and did another walk around at the church. I mean, if you take a look outside and look up, you can see that the wood is definitely peeling and paint is chipping all around the building, especially the back part of the building where the sun really hits it. And when we first had the walk around with Bill, he said that this was definitely work that needed to be done, or we were going to be faced somewhere close down the road with having to replace windows. If he said right now everything is in fixable condition, so that's the good news. The windows do not need to be replaced, but if this is an expense, yes, it is. But if it's something that we don't take care of now, somewhere down the road, not too long, we would be facing an even bigger expense when we start to be replacing windows that are rotting, the wood is rotting out. So
Yeah, so for those on the live stream who may or may not have heard Pam, her and Craig met with the painter sometime this week. The repairs that we're doing is sort of to mitigate the chances of having to make a more major repair of windows and that type of thing, because our building is somewhere between, various parts of it are somewhere between 50 and 100 and something years old. So like the clip that we showed, obviously, and anyone who's owned a house that may be somewhat older, there's sometimes unexpected things that pop up, like leaky water lines and things like that. So,
Okay.
Any other questions? Yes, Kathy.
what is the status of the kitchen? You can go down here, it's a big empty space.
What's the status of the kitchen? I think part of what we're looking at is, there's a couple things. I think we wanted to get through the summer because our income the last few months has been less than our income has been less than our expenses. So I think we wanted to make sure we had a clear vision of what we wanted the kitchen to be and what we needed the kitchen to be. Does that sound like a reasonable statement, Pam and others? So I think we will be working on getting ourselves a kitchen solution here in the upcoming time. I think we wanted to make sure that we made the right decisions on what the kitchen should and shouldn't be. I think there's a feeling that we may not necessarily need the commercial type kitchen that we've had previously, and maybe something a little that may function to be what we need. And so I think in the near future, and we'll probably work with a kitchen designer to come up with something and then go that direction.
Yes, Lauren.
I know I'm really new to the game. I'm just throwing this out there. I work for a plumbing contractor, and if at some point you want to replace any kind of fixture, say something to me.
Oh, good.
I'll get it for cost.
Excellent. We like that. We'll keep that in mind. Trust me, lots of people won't forget that. Be careful what you mention. It's my advice to you.
Says Bill as he stands up here. Yes.
Yes. Anybody else have any questions? Trust me, I as somebody who held the treasurer position for a while, and kind of dealt with previous issues we've had. I mean, I'm not a big fan of us having to pull money from the endowment. I know we all of us who kind of worked on this decision, this sort of decision, feel the same way. It's sort of something that we would prefer not to have to do, but for the moment, it kind of is a situation we're in. I think this gives us time to figure out what we need to do looking into as we get into 2023 and forward. Yes, Vicki.
Does this require a motion?
It does, actually. Okay, Vicki moves that we. I guess the technical motion, right, is what allow us the permission to pull $35,000 over the next 9 months, or through June 30th, 2023, from the the principal of the Pennside Presbyterian Endowment. Kathy seconds.
Okay. Any other discussion? All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. So ordered. Thank you, Bill. Thank you, Session, for all your good work. Let's close with prayer. Good and gracious God, we give you thanks that you are a God of possibility. You are a God of opportunity. We give you thanks, O God, for the work that you have given us and the resources you have given us to do your work. And so, Lord, we ask your blessing on this decision. We ask your blessing on the gifts you have given us that we can do this. Lord, help us now as we move forward to serve you with faith, to face the future without fear, and to hold hope close in our hearts. Oh God, thank you, and thank you for this congregation. Through Christ, amen. All right.